Hey guys, it's Robbo here, and a very excited Robbo at the moment, and I'll get to that in just a moment. But working from home for me has always been a joy, but today is one of those days where you just go, I am so glad that I work from home, because for about the last 2 years, 18 months, the guys on the Pro Audio Suite podcast that I do, George the Tech with him from LA, Robert Marshall, who is an audio engineer, but also one of the co-founders of Source Elements, the Source Connect people. Andrew Peters, a voiceover mate of mine from Melbourne, and myself, we've been collaborating with Centrance, who create some fantastic audio gear to come up with an interface specifically designed for voiceover artists. I mean, for so many years now, since the dawn of home voiceover studios, we've had to rely on equipment that's built, let's face it, for musicians. It's not specifically built for voiceover artists. So we had this idea on the podcast, it would be so cool to come up with an interface that just did that, just exactly that, made it so much easier for voiceover artists with the home studio. We managed to find Michael at Centrance, who said yes. We've been through a pre-sale phase to get the funds together. It's basically a crowd-funded product. We've sat and sweated as, chips that we were hoping would be available weren't available. We've had to find stuff. It's just been a hell of a process. But today, United States Postal Service, I don't know if you can see there from Michael at Centrance. This is the prototype. This is the bomb. There's 5 of these in existence. Michael has one and the 3 other guys have one. This is the tester, basically. So I thought I'd share the opening with you. It came this afternoon. I've sat patiently waiting for kids to go to bed and all the rest of it, so I had a quiet house so I could put this together for you. So let's jump in and open this sucker up and see what we've got. All right. I happen to conveniently have my box cutter sitting here, so let's give it a bit of a zip open. And I haven't placed my camera too well, but I'm sure you guys will get the gist. And here it is, Centrance on one side, and on the other side, the PASportVO, and if I can stop the glare, you'll see that better. And also, more importantly, right here, oh, come on, Robbo, what are you doing? What are you doing, Robbo? What are you doing, Robbo? What are you doing, Robbo? Robbo, what are you doing? There we go. You probably can't read that real well. The Pro Audio Suite podcast. That's our logo there, right in the top corner. So, the important stuff. Let's open this baby up. Michael, how do I open this? Oh, hang on. We've got more cutting to do. Let's give that a trim there. And a trim here. There we go. Aha, look at this. There we go. So, inside we have, I'm just going to move my keyboard out of the way. Inside we have some USB cords, which are obviously necessary to connect that to your computer. Because Michael thinks of everything, the guy's a genius, seriously. He's supplied, for reasons that will become obvious a little bit later, this is basically a SIM tool for you to get your SIM in and out of your phone. But he's included one of these because you are going to want it when we have a look at this. So obviously a nice little bag that it comes in. And you won't believe the size of this, right? This is like the palm of your hand sort of stuff. But when I start telling you the features that are in this thing, you're not going to believe me. So there it is. That's the PASportVO. I'll see if I can, in the lights, you can tell I'm an audio guy, can't you? Not a video guy. But anyway, there you go. There it is in all its glory. So that's the front. There's the top. And unfortunately, the bottom's not labelled because it's a prototype, but that's all the switching on the bottom. And if you look up in the top left-hand corner there, I've put a little diagram that will show you what they are. So look, let's just run through it quickly. And I'll do a more in-depth video later, obviously, once I've had a chance to play with this thing and test it. But basically, you've got speaker outs, speaker left and speaker right. You've got 2 mic inputs with really nice pre's. We went to a lot of trouble to find some pre's that would sound really nice. Both those come down into here, so you both have got their own power and their own high-pass filter. The selecting between the two is basically simply the push of a button. I don't know of any other interfaces that do that, I'll be honest with you. Most of them you've got to sort of muck around switching knobs and changing things, but basically on this, one push of a button and we've swapped mics. You can record both at the same time too, by the way, and when I do the demonstration, I'll get into that some more. Then each have their own dedicated gain knob, mic and playback, which I'll come back to, comms, which I'll come back to, headphones is your headphone level, speakers is your speaker level. Obviously, you've got a mic mute, which is a true mic mute. There ain't nothing getting through that sucker. You can push that down and call the client all sorts of names that they'll never hear. Speaker mute is obviously just that. And then on the bottom, again, have a look up in the top corner and you'll see what those switches do. The big things that are worth talking about with this thing is for podcasters and voiceover artists, as you'll see on the bottom, there's 2 USB plugs, and that's for a very good reason. You can plug them both into the same computer, or you can plug them into separate computers. So you could, if you wanted to, for some strange reason, you could record the same piece of audio to 2 different computers if you wanted a backup. For example, if you were doing an audio book and you wanted to make sure that if something crashed, you had a safety somewhere, you could do that. You can also plug it into the same computer, and one of those becomes your record. One of those becomes your recorder, and the other one becomes what is called comms. So comms you would send to Zoom and come back to your headphones from Zoom, and you put your record to whatever it is you're recording on, whether it be Audacity, Reaper, Pro Tools, Audition. This will work on Mac or PC. All of a sudden, you've got a mix minus, and that's what these knobs that I was talking about before, mic and playback, that gives you a balance between your microphone and when you're playing back audio, if you need to play back audio to the client, and comms is the balance between you and the people who are talking to you. So you can balance, if they're a bit loud in your headphones, you can balance that out so that you're sort of getting a good mix of both. Now, the beauty of all this is all this happens without you having to do a thing. As long as you plug it in correctly, and the record side, when it comes up on your computer, says record. The comm side, when it comes up on your computer, says comms. So you'd have to be working pretty hard to sort of screw it up. Once you've got it plugged in, that's it. All this works. You don't need to go in and go, oh, hang on, where am I sending that? And do I need to send that track here? Does that track need to be muted? How am I going to play it back without it feeding back? Blah, blah, blah. Done. Plug it in using the cords provided to your computer or 2 computers. You can even plug this thing into your iPhone or your iPad or your tablet of any description. And you're away. You're recording and you can do 2-way sessions. The other purpose or the other neat trick you could do with the 2 microphone inputs that we were talking about on the show the other day was if you're doing video game stuff, which can be really dynamic, can be sort of softly, and then 2 minutes later you can be yelling and screaming in a combat zone. You can record one side, you can record both channels at once, and you can record one side from a mic this close, like I'm talking here, but then you could put another mic further back and have that 12 dB down, and all of a sudden, any problem of distortion has disappeared as well because you've effectively recorded a lower level backup. So you don't have to worry about distortion. There is a compressor in here, which we designed, and I know, Robbo, you always say don't process. We've designed this to do the job that you need a compressor to do when you're doing voiceovers without hearing it work. Okay, so we really put a lot of thought into how we were going to do that, and it's as I understand it from the feedback I've had from the guys who have already got one of these, the compressor sounds really nice. So that's one of the things I'm actually looking forward to hearing when I get this thing plugged in tomorrow. So that's it. The PASportVO. I'll apologise now because you're going to hear a lot about it because I'm so proud of this thing. We've put so much work into it. You wouldn't believe the size of this box, if I could open it up and show you the boards inside with the chips and all that sort of stuff, there's literally not a spare spot. There's not a spare millimetre. We wanted to do other stuff and Michael actually had to say, guys, I'm sorry, we're out of room. This thing is just packed. And I've only scratched the surface of the things that are going to make you go, wow. So anyway, and just quickly, the other thing too is, I mean, I know we've all got a rig, obviously, because you're all recording from home, but you know, what about when you go on holidays or whatever, you just sort of throw that and a microphone lead and your iPhone. And on your iPhone, for example, you could put Twisted Wave on your iPhone, and all of a sudden you're doing voiceovers on the road with a phone, this thing, a USB lead and your microphone, and a mic lead, obviously. Although, stay tuned, because we have figured out a way that something like a 416 or a 416 or a 416, depending on where you're from, can actually just plug straight into there. And we're not sure yet whether you're going to need a little adapter, which is going to cost you $20, or whether the actual mic will fit straight on. We're yet to test that, but that's the other thing. So look, as I said, I'll apologise now, unapologetically, because you need one of these. And yes, Robbo, I know you're selling it, and yes, I am. But quite honestly, I'm actually gonna play. I actually want to set this up and just run my studio off it, just for laughs for one day, and just sort of see what I can do with it, and if I can break it. Because I don't think I'll be able to. That's the other thing, by the way, just quickly, that I've just realised is there's no software in here. This is 100% analog, so no updates that are going to make it crash, or firmware versions that sort of do stupid things and change things around from the way you've always had it. Once you've set it up, there's nothing that's going to screw it up. So yeah, look, thanks very much for taking the time to watch this, because I'm so proud and I'm so excited by this thing, and I hope that maybe at least you've looked at it and gone, wow, that's cool. So thanks very much, and look, I'll be back sooner rather than later, hopefully, and be able to show you how it all works.